Chris, can we also have, they're going to be in Calmoing. These, we have the multiple in Calmo and the single in Calmo ones ready. I mean, no one's here yet, but yeah, those and the single one. Hi, how are you? We're still sort of getting ready here. Um, yeah, if you want to go look at the exhibits, come back. We'll be fully in action. Oh, it'll be 5, 10 minutes, but thanks a lot, Gabe. So, hi everybody. Welcome to the Museum of Glass. Today we have a very special guest artist, Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez, the woman in the black jeans and black shirt at the center of our workshop. She's going to be working with our resident team of glassblowers to make her designs. And just start you off with a quick uh, introduction to how glassblowing works. Everything that we do starts out in our glass furnaces. The glass furnaces are the machines where you see the doors closed. There's two of them, one on each side of the studio. Inside each of those machines is a big ceramic pot. In that ceramic pot is 1,000 pounds of melted glass. We keep the melted glass at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. And at that temperature, the glass has the consistency of honey. So if you can imagine a giant crock pot full of honey. That's what our furnace is like. We want to get the glass out to make stuff. We take one of these steel pipes. Those are called blowpipes. And we dip it into the melted glass like you're dipping into a big jar of honey. We dip it in, twirl it around. A little bit of glass sticks to the end of the pipe. The pipe is hollow, so when you blow, the ball of glass blows up like a balloon. If you want to make something larger, we dip it in, blow a little bubble, let it harden. Then we dip it in a second time or a third time. We just keep building up the glass in layers. All the glass that's in those furnaces is clear glass. We buy our colored glass separately in the form of these bars. We buy it like an artist buys paint, red, yellow, blue, pink. We blow a bubble. If we're going to make a colored object, we blow a bubble of clear glass from the big furnace. We heat up a chunk of the colored glass, and then we coat that initial bubble with a layer of the colored glass. The reason that we do it this way is so that we can have any color we want, anytime we want. If we melted, say, blue glass in the big furnace, we could only make blue things. If we coat each piece individually, we can make a red thing, a green thing, a blue thing, whenever we want. So that's what they're doing over there on the right. That's Nick. He blew a little bubble of clear glass. Gabe, in the hat, heated up a chunk of colored glass, which I think is blue, and then we coat that bubble with the colored glass. So if you look up on the big screen, you'll see a little slideshow of the work of our guest artist. Victoria does sculptures which combine blown glass and neon and writing. And she was featured in an exhibition here at the museum last year called She Bends, which is women working in neon. She currently lives and works in Philadelphia, and she teaches at the Tyler School of Art in Philadelphia. So today she'll be working with our Museum of Glass Hot Shop team. We have a resident team of glass blowers that work for the museum. They're all extremely skilled glass blowers with at least 20 years experience making glass. And when we have a guest artist like Victoria, everything we make is her design, and she works with our team to make her designs. Do you guys have any questions so far? So the first thing we're going to make for Victoria is a kind of giant candlestick. You can see the chalk drawing on the shop floor. This is very traditional way of designing glass. We just draw whatever we're going to make on the floor in chalk and make it. So we're going to make this candlestick in several parts. We're going to make each part, and as we finish each part, we're going to put it into that silver oven with the curved side. That's called the garage. That oven will keep everything warm. Once we get all the parts made, then we'll pull them out one by one and stick them together. All glass when it's really hot, looks orange. The orange color that you're seeing is the glow from the heat, not the color of the glass. So this is going to be a blue candlestick, and it's until late in the process, it's not actually going to look blue. It's going to, you can see mostly it's glowing orange. That's the heat from the glass. So right now, Victoria's shaping the glass using a tool called the block. It's a scoop-shaped tool made out of wood, and we keep it wet. As long as the wood is wet, the tool doesn't burn. It doesn't leave any marks as she shapes the glass. Yep, just ordinary water. So you notice that one of the glass blowers is seated to the left of the workbench. He's the guy that's blowing. He's blowing through that steel tube, the blowpipe, and inflating the glass as Victoria shapes. The gray pad in Victoria's hand that she was shaping the glass with is just folded up newspaper soaked in water, ordinary newspaper. The tool in her hand is called the jacks. There's big metal tongs, and she's squeezing the glass and making the undulations in the form of the candlestick. this bubble that she's shaping right now, this is going to end up being the top section of the candlestick. We're going to make this candlestick in sections. We'll place them in the garage, the silver oven, keep warm. At the end, when we have all the sections made, then we'll assemble it. Little by little. We've done that last week. You could do it mold, yeah. We made some freehand ones then. You also blow it into a mold. Well, it depends whether you want the cube to be hollow. If you want it to be hollow, then you have to blow it. If you just want a solid glass block, yeah, you could just pour molten glass into a mold. Yeah, it's just you sort of flatten the sides and you kind of pull out the corners, make them sharper. It's just it's. I mean, we did it. We did made some cubes for an artist last week, and those were all done freehand, no molds. So over on the right, Nick sitting down, Sarah standing up. They're making the bubble for the next section of our candlestick. Sarah has the colored glass. Sarah in the black shirt and shorts. Nick has a bubble of clear glass, and we're going to coat the Nick's bubble with the same blue glass that we used here. In the center, Victoria's heating up the bottom. of that bubble. We're going to poke a hole in there because we want this whole thing to be um, open at both ends. Victoria uses neon in a number of her sculptures, and so we want this thing to be open so she can put the neon uh, through all the parts. So she's got a torch on the end, and Gabe was blowing, and she kept heating up the end of that bubble, and it forms a little bubble. The bubble popped, and now we have our little opening at the end of that. Now we'll take the jacks, those metal tongs, and widen the opening. So now Victoria's taking a measurement of that opening. We're going to make the next section, and we'll make the opening on the next section the same size as the previous one so we can join them together. When we join two hollow bubbles together, it's called incalmo. Can we put up the single incalmo slide? The single one? There we go. So we take the two hollow sections, we open up the end to the same diameter, we heat the edges so that they're soft and sticky, and we just press the two together. And so that's how we'll be joining all the sections of the candlestick. So we put this first section into the garage. The garage operates at half the temperature of the furnaces. We call it the garage because that's where we park stuff until we're ready to use it. It's hot enough to keep the glass from breaking, but it's not hot enough to make the glass soft. So whatever goes in the garage stays warm, holds its shape. When we're ready to use it, we'll pull it out and heat it up a little extra. Almost. There's no acetylene. We can't use acetylene because it's too carbony and it can affect the colors. So we have two different propane torches. We have what we call the fluffy torch, and that's propane and just sucks air in through the head. And then we have a propane and oxygen torch, which is hotter but covers a smaller area. No, the furnaces are natural gas. So Nick is dripping off some excess glass into that steel can. We'll save that excess glass, and that'll eventually go back in the furnace. That's one of the ways we can control how much glass we have on the bubble, is to dip it in, coat it, and then pour. If we have more than we need, we pour it off into that can. So Nick, with shaved head and camo shorts, he's prepared the bubble for Victoria. And now he's going to heat it up and give it to her, and she's going to shape it. The tool in Victoria's hand is called the block. It's made out of wood. It's stored in a bucket of water. As long as the wood is wet, the tool doesn't burn. It doesn't leave any marks as she shapes the glass. So Gabe, sitting to the left of the bench, is blowing, inflating that bubble, as Victoria, sitting at the workbench, shapes it. We're making this candlestick that you see drawn on the floor in chalk. We're making it in sections. We made the first section a little earlier. It's sitting in that oven over there, staying warm. Now we're making the second section. Does anybody have any questions? Candlestick. Do you see the chalk drawing on the shop floor? Yeah, we're going to join them together, right? Mm-hmm. Me? 45 years. Somebody told me it was fun. Turns out it was. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I drew and painted and stuff as a kid my whole life. Uh, no, not at the moment. Have a bunch of things on display at the Home Art Museum right now, but I'm not the guest artist. I'm just the tour guide. She's the guest artist. Can we put up some of? Oh no, we can't right now. The colors in glass come from metals dissolved in the glass when you first cook it up. Cobalt makes it blue, chromium makes it green, a little bit of gold makes it a beautiful ruby red. Yeah, we buy what we do. We buy colored glass from a company that makes colored glass. They have like 200 colors, but they cook it up from scratch with the different metals. So it's like buying a tube of paint. You go to the art store, buy a tube of red paint. You don't make the red paint yourself. You buy it. Yeah. And so we buy this colored glass, and then we coat our glass with the colored glass. It's blue. The orange color that you're seeing is the glow from the heat, not the color of the glass. Um, if you think about your own homes, if you have an electric stove, the burners are gray. When you turn them on to cook something, they get hot, they glow orange for a little while. Turn them off, they cool down, the orange glow disappears. That's the same thing you're seeing here. The glass is so hot, it's glowing orange temporarily, but as it cools, that orange disappears, and you'll see the true color, which is blue. Yes, it's highly pigmented, yeah. Yes, we cut up little sections like this. We stick it on one of those steel pipes, and then we coat a bubble of clear glass with the colored glass. The round oven that Victoria is heating up the glass in is called the glory hole. It runs on natural gas and forced air, and we keep it at approximately 2,300 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, she has this pad of newspaper that she uses to shape the glass, and we got to keep it wet so it doesn't burn. Can we put up the newspaper photo? So she just has a pad of folded up newspaper. We keep that wet, and as long as it's wet, we can shape the glass with it. So in the picture, you see a brand new one, and then on top of that one that's been used for a while. How is glass made? Glass is made, it's got three major ingredients: sand, soda ash, and lime. Sand is the bulk of it, it's mostly melted sand. Soda ash is sodium carbonate. It's a chemical which lowers the melting temperature of the sand. And the lime is calcium carbonate, and that stabilizes the mixture chemically. You take those three ingredients, throw them into the furnace, cook them overnight, and in the morning you have glass. Yes. No, we get what's called batch, which is kind of like a cake mix. It's got all the ingredients all proportioned out. We shovel it into the furnace and we cook it overnight. In the morning, it becomes glass. Yeah, yeah. So it's like going to get a cake mix at the grocery store. It's got everything you need in there, and you just add water and bake it. So now our guest artist, Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez, is shaping the glass. One of the other glass blowers is holding a wooden paddle in front of her arm to shield her from the heat. So this bubble that she's making now is going to be the middle section of the candlestick. We made the top of the candlestick. We put it in the garage. Now we're making the middle section. And over there, they're starting the bubble for the base. So we're going to make it in 3 sections, join the 3 sections together. Oh, yeah, yeah. We encourage it. Does anybody have any questions? Can we put up some of Ms. Ahmadizadeh's artwork up on the big screen? So we have a little slideshow, a selection of her artwork. She does glass blowing and it also does neon and makes sculptures that combine the two, also sometimes using text. Ms. Ahmadizadeh Melendez was featured in an exhibition here called She Bends, which was an exhibition of female artists working with neon. She's our guest artist this week. And she's working with our resident team of glass blowers to make new parts for her sculptures. So the other folks that you see on the floor besides Victoria are Museum of Glass resident team of glass blowers. Everything that we make has to be cooled slowly overnight so it doesn't break. So everything you see in that oven that they just opened over there is all the things that were made yesterday. The things that we make today will go into this oven over here, the big black oven on the right side of the studio. They'll be cooled slowly overnight, and they'll be ready tomorrow. Over on the right side of the studio, Nick with a shaved head and Sarah standing by the furnace. They're making the bubble for the third and I think final section of our candlestick. So over on the workbench on the right, Nick is preparing the bubble for Victoria. If he sees any bubbles in there that he doesn't want, at this point when the glass is thick and gooey, we can yank those bubbles out and then snip them off. So apparently there were a lot of bubbles in this one. Once he's got all those things plucked out, we'll heat that up and round it out again. Does anybody have any questions? In the center, Nick is heating up that glass bubble as he is bringing it to Victoria to shape. Glass blowing is a team sport. We rarely work alone. So now in the center, Victoria is shaping the glass using a tool called the block. It looks like a little scoop. We don't scoop up any water in it. We just want the wood itself to be damp so that when we shape the glass with it, it doesn't burn the tool. So as Victoria's sitting at the workbench shapes it, Gabe is holding a wooden paddle in front of her arm to shield her from the heat. The heat that comes off the glass is radiant heat, like an outdoor heater. It heats the first thing it strikes. So if you put the paddle between the arm and the glass, the paddle gets hot and the arm doesn't. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Excuse me? I didn't quite get that. No. Uh-uh. See, because it's wider. Yeah, we're going to open the end of that up wide. Well, the torch, we can, if we need to heat up a particular place in the glass and we need to focus the heat there, we use the torches. If we want to heat it up in general, we use the big round oven. So right now, Victoria's taking that torch and she's going to heat up a little tiny spot on the base. And then we're going to blow. That'll make a little bubble and a bubble will pop. And we'll have an opening on the bottom. Spread it out to make the base. So you see Sarah sitting to the left is blowing as Victoria is heating and softening that spot in the middle. So we made a little bubble. The bubble popped. Now we have a hole. Now we can spread it out. So this bubble she's making is the lower third of that candlestick. We made the middle and the top sections. They're sitting in the garage. And once we get this thing all squared away, then we're going to start to assemble it. Hi. How are you guys? Good. Do you guys have any questions? So if you came in a little later, our guest artist is the woman sitting at the center workbench, Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez, and she's working with our resident team of glassblowers to make one of her sculptures. And we're going to be making the candlestick, which is drawn on the floor in chalk just in front of the workbench. Making it in three parts. This is the bottom part they're working on now. The other two parts we made earlier this morning are sitting in that silver oven. Victoria's spreading out the bottom. The tool in her hand is called the parchophes. She's pressing on the inside of that opening and forcing the opening to be wider. All the parts of this candlestick are hollow. So we want the bottom to be open, so we need a special punty to hold it. Gabe is making that punty over on the right. He's made a kind of a hollow cup of clear glass, and we're going to use it to grab the section that Victoria's making right now. So that section that she's making right now, that's going to be the bottom of the candlestick, the bottom third. Gabe's going to come over and check the diameters. We're going to use Gabe's hollow glass piece to grab the base of the candlestick. So Gabe's, we call it punty, will hold the candlestick, the bottom of the candlestick, while we assemble. So we'll grab the bottom, then pull out the middle section, then pull out the top section, and join them all together. So Gabe comes over with the punty, P-U-N-T-Y. We'll attach it to the bottom. Once they feel that bond is strong, we'll break the glass away from the original pipe. So now we're ready to assemble the candlestick from the bottom up. Can we put up the single in Calmo slide? So we're going to join these sections by opening each section to the same diameter, heat up the edges till they're soft and sticky, and then press them together. In glass blowing, this is called incalmo, and in the Venetian dialect, it means to graft, like grafting in plants. So over to the left, the center, is Nick. Nick is grabbing the middle section of the candlestick, which has been placed in that oven. We made it earlier this morning. It's been sitting in that oven, staying warm. And now Nick is warming it up a little extra, and he's going to bring it out. And we'll join the middle section to the base. So now we're getting ready to join the two sections together. When we join two hollow pieces of glass together on edge, it's called incalmo. So we've made this candlestick in 3 sections. So we have the edges of the 2 sections, hot and soft. It also makes them sticky. So when we press the 2 together, they'll be joined forever. Glass, in some sense, is kind of like wax. When you get it hot, if you take 2 pieces of hot wax and you press them against each other, they stick to each other. The same is true of glass. So we've joined the 2 lower sections together. The third and top section, we made it earlier this morning. It's sitting in that silver oven with the curved side called the garage. And now Nick is heating it up a little extra. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah. Oh, we're gonna add extra pieces of glass. Just heat them up, melt them on, make a little drop. Once the whole thing is assembled, then we'll put the extra. If you came in a little later, give you just a quick introduction to how glass blowing works. Everything that we do starts out in our glass furnaces. The glass furnaces are the machines where you see the doors closed. There's 2 of them, one on each side of the studio. If you look up on the big screen, we have a little diagram that shows you what the furnaces look like inside. Inside each of the furnaces is a big ceramic pot. In that ceramic pot is 1,000 pounds of melted glass. We keep the melted glass at 2,100 degrees Fahrenheit. And at that temperature, the glass has the consistency of honey. The round ovens that you see with the doors open, those are called glory holes. Those have no glass in them. Those are just hot chambers for heating and softening the glass while we're working. Can we put up the glory hole diagram? So it's just a brick barrel with a gas burner on the side, and we stick the glass in there for a minute or 2. It gets hot and it gets soft again, and then we return to the workbench and continue to shape. So we have glory holes and furnaces. Hi. How are you guys? Good. Do you guys have any questions? We're making that candlestick that's drawn on the floor in the chalk. You might have to stand up to see it. In between the steel table and the workbench. So our guest artist is the woman sitting at the center workbench, Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez. She's the woman in the black shirt at the center. So everything we're making today is her design, and she's working with our resident team of glassblowers to execute her design. Now we're adding the top section of the candlestick. So we made this candlestick in 3 parts. We've adjoined 2 of them already, and this is the 3rd and final one. And then we're going to add the drops of melting wax and the other additions after we've assembled the candlestick entirely. I haven't tried it on yet.
Oh, you haven't tried it on yet? It might be loading improperly. Did it load properly? It's because you gotta look for people. No.
Was that your design, the Pilchuck shirt?
No, I just bought them for you guys. That's all. What's the website handle?
Mine is conroyglass.com.
Okay.
Can we put up the multiple in Calmo drawing? So when we want to join hollow sections of glass, it's called in Calmo. In the case of this candlestick, we have 3 sections. We've already joined 2 of them. Now we're getting ready to join the 3rd. So we want to get the 2 edges of the 2 pieces hot and soft so that they'll stick together. When we use the torches, we can focus the heat just on the edge, make that part soft and sticky without disturbing the rest of the shape. We'll do the same with Nick's piece. So they'll have 2 sticky edges together. They'll be assembled. Our guest artist. So here we go. You can see the 2. It's just if you imagine 2 pieces of hot wax and pressing them together and they stick to each other, that's pretty much what's going on here right now. Our guest artist works with blown glass and neon and makes installations and sometimes involving text in neon. Can we put up some of Victoria's artwork up on the big screen? Victoria was featured in our exhibition She Bends, featuring women working in neon. I think we have some pictures coming up. I believe this piece was in the show. This was also in our exhibition. This Ahmadizadeh Melendez is of Persian descent on one side of her family, and these candlesticks remind her of the Persian New Year, which happens in the spring rather than our New Year, which happens in the winter. You guys know about our contest? If we pick your drawing, we'll make 2 copies, one for you to keep and one for the museum collection. No, there's no money involved at all, only talent. If you can, there's a table out in the lobby with drawing materials and entry forms. You can either do the drawing here or grab an entry form, go home, do your drawing at home, and mail it in. So now our guest artist, Victoria, is opening up the top of the candlestick. The tool in her hand is called the jacks, and she presses against the inside of the opening as her assistants turn the pipe, and that makes the opening wider. Flakes of the newspaper get on it. I'm not sure what. So as Victoria works on the shape of the candlestick, one of the other glass blowers is heating up the connection between the candlestick and the metal rod. That connection is fragile. As long as it's warm, everything will stay okay. If it gets allowed to get too cold, that connection will crack and the whole thing will fall on the floor. When I say too cold, I mean below 900 degrees. thing about the torches versus the glory hole. The glory holes are the big round ovens. The torches are what she's using now. The torches allow us to focus the heat in a particular place. The glory holes heat the glass up generally. The torches, we can put the heat just exactly where we want it. So we're going to add some drips to this candlestick. Nick is heating up the colored glass for the drips, and Victoria is going to apply them. So now Victoria's going to take her torch and melt on that drip. So over on the right, Nick is heating up the glass for the next drip. He's going to bring that hot, soft glass to Victoria, and she's going to apply it. So here comes Nix with the glass for the next drip. So as our guest artist, Victoria Ahmadizadeh works on the additions. Sarah's taking a torch and keeping the rest of the candlestick warm. If we allow any section of it to get too cold, the glass can crack. So even though we're focusing our attention on the additions at this moment, we still have to keep the whole thing warm so we don't break it. So now Victoria's melting on some of the details. She's doing what we call cane drawing. She's got a stick of colored glass in one hand, a torch in the other, and she's melting on little details. So the drawing for her sculpture is the drawing in chalk on the floor at the center of the workshop. Does anybody have any questions? It doesn't really get burnt. If you get it really too hot, it boils. It doesn't really burn. What? liquid. If it's a liquid that gets too hot, it'll boil.
But it all creates steam.
Well, you can get it hot enough to the point where it'll actually evaporate the glass.
Oh. That's so fascinating. And how hot does that? That's
That'd have to
really
be
high.
like 28, 3,000.
Oh. They don't look like they're sweating. Is it really hot in there?
They are if you get close to them.
It's like you said what? It is
So
hot.
they probably are if you get close to them.
Oh, true, yeah. Do you guys make your own glasses? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have a bunch of homemade glasses that we use around the shop.
That's cool.
Yeah, they're just homemade.
Oh, okay. That's cool. When she's done with the piece, like, do you just set it out to cool?
Okay, what do we do when we're done with the pieces? We place them in one of these big black ovens. They're called annealers. We keep 'em warm all day. We place all these stuff we make during the day in there. And then at night, it has a little computerized thermostat that slowly turns the temperature down to room temperature overnight. If we made this and just put it on the table and walked away, it would cool too quickly and unevenly and it would break. So we put it in the annealer. The slow cooling process is called annealing, and it's just cooling it slowly so it doesn't break. Does anybody have any questions? Yes. Oh, it's kind of like dripping candle wax. What?
Has this been a one-day project, or have they been working on it for a few days now?
Just been working on it. Well, I mean, she's here for Wednesday through Sunday, but we just started this candlestick this morning. She'll make several different things over the period of being here. Yes, hold it. Yes.
Is that just how like they just put like the drops in, or so it's tip of the bag where you put the candle in. There's these two cracks on the side there, so is that?
She made two cuts. She wants it like the whole candlestick itself is breaking up, and the drips are like wet drips of wax. If you're here with kids today, we have a special contest for kids. Any kid 12 and under can do a drawing. Once a month, we pick one of the drawings and make it out of glass. We make two copies, one for the kid to take home and one for the museum collection. It's free to enter. There's a table out in the lobby with drawing materials and entry forms. And we have a little short video show you some of the things we've done with the kids in the past. Could we play Kids Design Glass?
It's a baby monster. Pip is a baby monster that loves to smile and laugh. Even though he's little and cute, he gives a big cry. Also, Pip loves food, especially bananas. He will eat any speck of food in sight.
Oh, it's amazing. Totally amazing. And then especially if the pieces of art go traveling around, other kids will see, oh my gosh, I could do that too. You know, it's not just somebody else that, you know, they did it, you know, I couldn't do that. Absolutely not. Anyone can do this. And I think that's what it shows the kids.
Maybe not everybody can win,
But,
I think it's gonna stand up there with one of the coolest things that a museum has ever done.
What is it? A cucumber all dressed up for a night on the town? That's pretty ridiculously funny.
The funnest part about this project is how fresh the ideas are coming from the kids who they have no idea of glass blowing techniques. They don't care.
Nobody saw this coming. We'd make one piece and it was given to the family. And then we realized, well, wait a second, there's something more here. We started to get more drawings, more interesting drawings, and it really kind of snowballed a little bit.
Bacon Boy was special. The hat almost looks like a frying pan.
Maybe he's wearing a frying pan.
I don't really do any work when they print it. It's great.
take it, baby.
It's fine.
Oh, that's glass. Cool. All I see.
How's that for his arm? Fingers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it really brings it home and really shows that, you know, there's an artist in all of us, I think. So, and it's human nature to be creative. So I think we lose that as we get older sometimes, and it's cool to see this pure creative nature that children possess. So I think it's cool to share that with the rest of the world, hopefully. So.
Thank you for supporting Kids Design Glass.
So if you want to enter, there's a table out in the lobby with drawing materials and entry forms. It doesn't cost anything. If you win, we'll call you up, you bring the whole family down, and we'll make it right in front of you. So we're adding another drop. So, just for those who came in a little later, our guest artist is Victoria Ahmadizadeh Melendez. She's the woman in the center of the workshop holding the torch, or holding the blue-white torch. She's working with our resident team of glassblowers to make one of her sculptures. If you look beside her to the right, you'll see a chalk drawing of this candlestick with the drips on it, and that's what we're making right now. The colors are distorted by the heat, so that candlestick is a deep blue. It's called lapis blue, after the semi-precious stone. It's a deep, dark, rich blue. After Victoria finishes her residency here, she's going to be going to the world-famous Pilchuck Glass School here in Washington State, where she'll be an artist in residence as well. We put up some of Victoria's artwork up on the big screen. So these show you a selection. This piece was in our exhibition called She Bands of women working in neon. Victoria teaches at the Tyler School of Art, where she did her undergraduate work. She also got a graduate degree from VCU, Virginia Commonwealth University. And we're almost done with this candlestick. Everything that we make here has to be cooled slowly. Sure, the glass will be hard. We'll drip some water where we want to break the glass away from the punty. Give the piece a tap. Off it comes. And it'll cool in that oven overnight. Go off.